Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Erica Salee. Just wanted to remind you to make sure that you cast your vote. We are living in a crucial time in American history, and your voice and your vote, yes, they do count. You know, we're looking around at the landscape of everything that's happening right now, and we are dealing with a pandemic that has taken 200,000 lives. There are close to 7 million, did you hear me? 7 million people who have been infected with this virus. We're in the midst of social unrest because people are using their voices to demand equality and social change. And so as you look at everything that's going on right now, I'm hoping that as you plan your vote, that you're asking yourself some very basic questions. And that is this what I want for myself? Is this what I want for my children and my children's children? Yes, we are talking about generational decisions that rest on our vote and our voice. And so I'm asking you to think about what is happening right now. And here's the thing, and here's what I know may be a big risk. Sometimes when new has to happen, when better has to happen, sometimes in order for us to get to the best version of what America could look like, it might mean that we have to do something different than what we've ever done before. Sometimes we have to break away from those generational norms. Sometimes we have to remove the labels that we've given ourselves to associate with one particular organization or group just so that we can stand up and do what is right. And I know for many that may be a frightening thought. I've always been this, so I can't do anything different. I've always claimed this demographic, so there's absolutely no way that I can make a different decision. So here is why that question, what do you want for you and your children and your children's children, is so very important. Because what rests for our lives is so much bigger than anything that we could call ourselves. And so if you're afraid to make a different decision because you know that you're claiming one particular classification for yourself and you just can't move outside of that, the question is, what's more important? Decency, human rights, civil rights, social rights. What's decent for us to be able to treat one another with dignity, honor, and respect, even if we don't agree on all of the same topics? See, I feel like where we are right now is so much more different and so much more critical than just disagreeing on policies. You can put 5 people in a room and none of us would agree on the same thing. So we know that there's going to be a difference of opinion on lots of issues. But we can argue the issues and we can argue the merits of process and procedures. And let me just say this. While America's identity is at stake, just know that America, yes, has not always been kind to many demographics, to many marginalized groups, myself included. So we still do have a lot of work to do. But if we do not stand up, if we do not cast our vote and make our voices heard, then the America that we want to see, the best version of herself, is in jeopardy. Just listen to everything that's going on and think about how you want to show up as part of this election cycle. Now, this is my own personal PSA because I think it's just that important. It is just that critical. It is just that crucial that we take a stand. And here's the other thing that I'm asking you to consider. You know, it's concerning to me, and I hope that it is just as concerning to you to think about the notion that one person would expect and would do whatever it takes to remain in power. That is a scary thought. It is concerning to me, and I hope it is just as concerning to you, to look around and to question, why is it that nobody seems to want to take responsibility for where we are right now? It's concerning to me, and I hope that it is just as concerning to you, to listen to all of the things that seem to be manipulated in order to make certain things happen. There is a narrative that is happening right now that mail-in ballots are a fraud and that this election will be a fraud because the intent is for us to think something different about what our right to vote means. It's concerning to me that that is the narrative that is being created. And understand this, that there are many states in this country, 5 at least, who have been doing voting by mail for years, for years, and there's never been a question. If you think about the research that has been done to figure out whether or not voter fraud has even been a thing, and there has been no evidence to suggest that, but all we hear is the narrative. It is concerning to me that that is the language that we're hearing, and I hope, by God, that it is just as concerning to you. It's concerning to me to know that there are things at play to challenge this election in multiple states. It is concerning to me, and I hope that it is just as concerning to you as we see what is happening and what will continue to happen over the next few weeks. I hope that you open your eyes, and I hope that you listen with a discerning ear, and more so, I hope that you open up your heart to what is happening right now. And my question to you is this: when you wake up in the morning, how do you want to feel? Do you want to feel this sense of chaos and confusion and asking yourself, is this true? Is that true? What is happening here? What is happening there? Or do you want to wake up every single day recognizing that there is hope, that there is an opportunity, that there is a chance? And no, you and I may not look alike. We may not come from the same place. We may not have gone to the same schools. We may not live in the same types of neighborhood. We may not drive the same car or have the same type of profession. But when we take all of that out of the equation, guess what we are? We are human more than we are anything else. First, before we were anything else. And so I'm asking you to consider what you want for this nation to be, what you want to leave your children when you are no longer a part of this world and you have gone on and transitioned into the heavenly realm. What do you want for your children and your children's children? Do you want to participate in making this a better nation? Do you want to participate in human decency? And I know there's a lot of things going on right now. There are a lot of things happening in this country. It is unsettling. It is unnerving. It makes people angry and frustrated. And let me say this: as you see people being vocal about the anger and frustration, understand that it is about making this nation decent for the people who feel like that they've been slighted on so many levels. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, you know what? None of this affects me because my 401k is doing well. My bank account is looking real nice. None of this affects me because I'm not one of the marginalized. None of this affects me because I'm doing well and I can do what I want to do and I can go where I want to go. None of this affects me, and I don't understand why people are making such vocal noises about why Black Lives Matter or why we should be having the conversation about human decency. So let me say this, that while everything may not necessarily be wrong in your world right now, that if we are not careful and if we do not stand up and if we do not make our voices and our votes count, then the America that you know and that you feel so comfortable in right now may not be as comfortable as it feels for you at this moment. Yes. You know, we're sitting back and we're looking at everybody else doing their thing on the outside. They're protesting, they're carrying signs, they're making noise about what's happening. And I don't understand that. But do you realize that at any given point, if we're not careful about what we choose to do over the next few weeks, that you could blink and become just as marginalized as those whose voices you hear now? So it is important, it is imperative, and I implore you, I almost feel like I'm begging you to make your voice and your vote count. It is just that serious. Now, make no mistake, I'm wearing this hat because I believe that Black lives do matter. It doesn't mean that I look at other people's life and I think any less of theirs. But what it does mean is that if by chance we are classifying all lives matter, then the only way that can make sense is that if Black lives matter, if women's lives matter, if LGBTQ lives matter, the only way. So I know you may have a tendency as you're looking at this video, and I hope that you're paying attention to it. You might say, oh, well, all lives matter. Oh, well, I'm okay. Just know that we are part of this collective journey. We are connected on so many more levels than we are not connected, then we are divided. We are connected. And though there are some who may paint a different narrative about who we are and what we choose to do and the rights that we have to do it, there are lots of different conversations that people are having. Those people over there are bad, and those people over there shouldn't do that, and those people over there have no right, and those people over there are corrupt, and those people. We are part of a collective body of the human race. And so I ask you, I implore you, I challenge you, yes, to make sure that you do vote, to make sure that you do cast that ballot. If you decide to go to the polls, go informed, go protected with your mask, with your hand sanitizer. Take your food, as First Lady Michelle Obama said. Take a chair. If there's a line and you need to sit down and rest, plan how you are going to cast your ballot if you choose to show up at the polls. If you choose to vote by mail, then choose where you want to drop your ballot. And let me just reiterate that as you hear, voting by mail is corrupt, voting by mail is fraud, just know that there is a narrative that is being painted and portrayed to make you and I think that there is something wrong with the process. And I gotta ask you, when you hear the constant rhetoric, when you hear the language that is being used, when you hear the constant emphasis on doom and gloom and everything is wrong and everybody else is wrong except me and I want to remain in power at all costs, you and I have to ask ourselves the question, is that something that we want for this nation to be? And you look around the world and you see other nations where dictatorship is the law of the land. And you and I know that we can come and go and we have the rights and the freedoms. And as I said, yes, there are lots of things that have to be changed about how we live in this country. Absolutely. There is no question. But if you want to have some semblance of what it looks like and what it could look like and your participation in it and how you get to remain in your space of freedom, then you have to understand that everything that you and I know to be true and everything that you and I want to be true is riding on this time in history, this time in our American history. And like you, I want us to be the best version of who we were created to be. But the only way that we can do that is to move out of this space of only being connected to this side. And if you feel like your connection to this side doesn't even represent who you are as a human being, then perhaps, just perhaps, it's time to move in a new direction. It's time to move to a new hope. It's time to move to a new possibility. And I wanted to share this because too many of us are sitting back. Too many of us sat back 4 years ago and we did nothing. And I'm asking you that if you've never voted and you're registered to vote, I'm asking you to step up and make your ballot count. If you're not registered to vote, go to your state's Board of Elections website and register to vote. It is just that crucial. And if you said to yourself, oh no, I'm not gonna vote in this election because I don't think it makes a difference. Let me just tell you, it makes a difference. And perhaps you said that same thing 4 years ago and you see what a difference it does make. So think about that. Think about that. Think about that. And let's do this thing together. Let's put our collective hats on and let's make a difference for you, for our families, and for entire generations that will come after us. What we do now will dictate how that looks. And if you want it to look any small hint better than what it looks right now, then absolutely we've got to come together. We've got to vote. We've got to make our voices count. We've got to let people know that we will not tolerate any old thing happening and just sit by the wayside and expect that it's just going to be okay. We've got to make it okay. Please, please make your vote count. Not just make your vote, not just cast your ballot, but make it count for something bigger. Make it count for something better. Make it count for something that when you lay your head down on the pillow at night, you can say to yourself, I've done my part to make this thing that we're in right now so much better than where we are. That's my message to you, my friends. Take heed, take care, and do go out to vote.